My name's Tom Flincham, and I moved to Panama, arrived here on December the 28th. My first experience in Panama was many, many years ago when I was in the Air Force, stationed out here at Howard Air Force Base and working at Albert Air Force Base. And I knew then that someday I would want to come back here to retire because I fell in love with Panama then, and it never changed. A couple of years ago, I started researching the options for coming to Panama. I had lived and traveled and worked all over the world. I made a short list, and Panama came up on top of that list. I first found out about Panama Relocation tours, doing just a Google search, coming up to working and living in Panama. Did some checking through my network of friends and associates, and I ended up buying the guide because everything was booked. All the tours were booked. Living in Panama City was never on my radar. It was just, I am not a big city person, but yet here I am. But I digress. I spent several days in Las Tablas, several days in Chitre. I decided to buzz back up to Boquete for a few more days just to be sure. So I did, and I was convinced that that's where I needed to be. Boquete was or maybe even Volcan, but the Highlands was where I was going to go. I told my boss, I said, see ya, I'm done come the end of December. I'm gonna go see my kids for Christmas, and then I'm gonna head to Panama. And that's exactly what I did. So when I got back here on the 28th of December, I was in no big hurry. Couldn't do anything, couldn't get my permanent visa, even though it was ready. Couldn't get my permanent one because everybody was closed for Christmas. So I stayed around for a few days here in the city. I got to thinking, maybe I should stay here for a while and use Panama City as a base from which to go out and explore the rest of the country. And so that's what I did. I worked with a real estate agent, and she helped me find this beautiful loft apartment here in El Cangrejo. And I'm very happy here. When I walked in the door, I said, I like it. I like it. Because here on my left here, it's all glass from the floor to the ceiling. And it's a 2-story, so it's a loft. The downstairs here area has the salon or the sitting area. There's a nice dining area over here to my right, and the kitchen and the laundry area. There's a half a bath down here for the guests. Very comfortable. And then I take a little short walk up the staircase to the loft area, which is where my bed is, master bath. And I also have a workspace set up there for my computer and my screens where I do my consulting work. I pay, basic rent is $11.25 a month, but she keeps the electric and all that in her name because this was an Airbnb before she decided to lease it out as a permanent, long-term rental. But she sends me copies of the electric bill, and let's see, what else is it? The water and trash bill. So she sends all that to me, and it gets it rolled up into it. So my average cost per month is running about $12.45 to $12.50, all included. That's electric and all. And I keep this place fairly cool. My average electric bill is running right at $100 a month. So I can't complain. $100 a month in Panama City for electric. I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. So, could I live cheaper up in the Highlands, out in the interior? Absolutely. But I like this place, so I'm willing to pay a little extra for some place that makes me happy. If, however, you find that it's a little bit out of your price range, I guarantee you there are some beautiful 1 and 2 bedroom apartments here in El Cangrejo that you're going to fall in love with, just like I did this one. and that will be within your budget. So let's take a look and see what else is around here. Living here in El Cangrejo, which is Spanish for the crab, which I don't understand how it got that name, but that's okay. It is an older part of Panama City. When I was here many years ago, the El Panama Hotel, which is right over here to my left, there was nothing around it. It was you could drive down Via España and you could see the hotel up on the hill and everything. Now it's all built up around. We are within easy walking distance of the Iglesia del Carmen subway station, which makes it very easy to get all the way to Tucumán Airport now, and then over to Albert Mall and the transportation center over there. Via Argentina is a very short distance from here. A lovely boulevard with lots of restaurants, bars, if that's your thing. There's shopping on Via España, although the nicer shopping, of course, is at the malls like Multiplaza, which is maybe it's about a $2.50 or Uber ride from here. Uber will be here in 3 or 4 minutes max, anytime, day or night. And you can go pretty much anywhere in the city, in the central part of the city for, like I said, $2 to $3. The parks that I like to go to in the mornings, every morning I get up about 6 o'clock. Even though I'm retired, you still get up at 6 o'clock. And I jump in my little pickup and I go to Parque Omar, named after Omar Torrijos, who was the man in charge when I lived here back in the 70s. And it's like Central Park of New York. It's got a beautiful walking path all the way around the circumference of the park. It's right at 4 kilometers from the time you leave your car till you get back to your car. And it typically takes me about 40 minutes to run the circuit. I like it there. There's always people there early in the morning, running and walking. I also like to go down to the Balboa Avenue on the seafront on the Pacific coast, because there's a very long park along the Cinta Costera, but it's a lot hotter there because in the morning when the sun's coming up, there's very little shade. At Parque Omar, it's all shaded. So it's a much more pleasant place to go walking in the morning. Haven't gone there in the evening, but I understand it's pretty much the same. Again, in my neighborhood, if I didn't want to cook, I never have to cook. I can eat in very inexpensive fondas and restaurants here in this neighborhood, 3 meals a day if I wanted to, 4 if I wanted to. There's a nice little Italian place right next to this building. There's Panamanian food, there's Chinese, there's even a Russian restaurant, catty-cornered across from here. Has the most wonderful borscht I've had in many, many years. One of the things that a lot of people need to consider is, along with the cost of living, is the cost of groceries. Okay, I love shopping at Reba Smith. I know a lot of people think, well, Reba Smith, they hear all these stories that it's the most expensive of the chains. There's Super 99, there's, let's see what else. Oh, there's Super Extra, and there's others in different parts of Panama. I have found that the advice that Jackie gives about not being hung up on American brands or Canadian brands or whatever it is very good advice. For example, just yesterday I went to the supermarket and I looked at a bag of the Panamanian version of Ruffles versus the Ruffles, the real Ruffles, and they're right next to each other. And the quote unquote real Ruffles were more than twice the price. And I'm like, what do I care? They're Ruffles, and they taste just as nice as the American brands. Yeah, it's true. Some of the Panamanian beef can be a little chewy, but you know what? I like it. I have lived all over the world, and I'll put Panamanian meat products, chicken, beef, pork, whatever. I'll put it up against anything. Maybe not Texas beef, being a Texas boy, but it's good stuff, and you just have to be willing to try it. On the topic of health insurance, much to the chagrin of one of my Panamanian friends, who is an insurance agent, I have yet to bite the bullet and buy Panamanian health insurance. Right now, I'm doing it out of pocket. And actually, my out-of-pocket expenses here with medical care are less than they were in the States, even with insurance, okay? So by the time I was doing my co-pay and all of that in the States, I'm still less here. So I'm not seeing the need at this point. I probably will, but at my age, I'm rolling the dice. I am rolling the dice. I get that. I went to a cardiologist about a month ago. He did the EKG, the full strip. He was with me for about an hour. I walked out of there. It cost me just a little over $100. 2 weeks ago today, I went to the dentist, had a full cleaning, full x-rays. It was $80. And I understand that there are less expensive ones out there. This place was American grade. Very, very high quality place over in El Dorado, which is not far from here. The prescriptions that I take are more expensive here in Panama. I was told that if I jump on Wingo and fly to one of the cities in Colombia, or Mexico or someplace, the cost of flying there and flying back for $59, $69, buy my supply of pharmaceuticals that I need, I'll be money ahead than buying them here. So I have enough to last me for a while now, but I will take that advice and be doing that. Just get off the plane and go to the pharmacy and get back on the plane and come home, all in the same day. I understand that that's a fairly common practice. I would encourage everybody. It is, if I can learn to be bilingual, anybody can, because I'm no rocket scientist, okay? It's all about, there's a word in Spanish, and I always taught this to my students. There's a word called ganas, G-A-N-A-S. And ganas is that deep down desire to achieve something. And so if you've got enough ganas to be able to communicate in a second language, you can do it. It doesn't happen overnight, but we have a saying in Spanish, paso a paso, step by step, poco a poco, little by little, okay? The people here they'll smile, they'll just love you to death if you just try, okay? This is their country. Okay, this is their home. Yeah, a lot of people here are bilingual, but again, you can be too. I would strongly recommend the online guide Coming on the tour is great. Me personally, I found the guidebook to be an invaluable resource. I used it for sourcing my attorney that I went with, who is an absolute angel. She and her husband and her two boys, they made my life so easy. I was completely blown away by how easy the process was to get my visas, both the temporary and the permanent, to open the bank account, to helping me lease this apartment with reviewing my lease. It was all rolled into one for one low price. And when we use that term, tongue in cheek, but it really was. I was surprised at how inexpensive it was to use a very good quality attorney to help make sure that I wasn't leaving myself open for surprises financially, shall we say. To get your driver's license verified, my US driver's license verified, I found that process to be very easy. Just follow the guide. In deciding what areas of the country, the guide has such a wonderful description of all the different parts of Panama. The private tour guides that Jackie has vetted that will help show you around for what I consider money well spent. But then being an independent sort, I'll go and break the ice with them for a day or two. Then I'll want to go and explore on my own, which I highly recommend. If you're on the fence about this whole retiring in Panama or retiring overseas anywhere, kind of like the Nike commercial, just do it. Because you can research things to death, but until you get your passport, get your plane ticket, and come and explore, you're never going to know. And worst case scenario, you come, you check it out, you try it for a few months, you figure out, it's not for me. Or maybe it's just that Panama's not for you. Okay, there's other places in the world. Personally, I like it here. And I've traveled, I think the last count was 36 countries. I've traveled, lived, or worked there. Panama is tops for me, and it can be for you too. So I would strongly encourage you to just be brave, be bold. There's an old saying, fortune favors the bold, okay? So be bold and fortune will find you. Get your passport, get a ticket, come down and see us. You will be glad you did.